Mastermind time.
Wait, hold on.
It's
Where do I
mastermind
look?
time.
Or does it matter?
It's mastermind time.
Okay.
It's
All right.
mastermind time, baby. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time.
Welcome to Mastermind Time. I have here with us local entrepreneur Vincent Taylor. Hello, Vincent, and welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Vincent. I'd like to talk a little bit about your business, what it is, and how did you get started?
I do appliances. I do washers, dryers, refrigerators, stoves, appliance repair, sales, used.
Oh, wow.
hmm
I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. My mama house. My mama house. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills. I am the king of my mama house. I pay all the bills.
That exactly.
Well, I got started when I used to work for a company, PG&E, before, and I got fired from them.
Oh.
After PG&E fired me, I decided I was going to start doing appliance work. Well, refrigeration, because it was needed in Fresno.
Mm.
So I went to school, HVAC school, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And then after that, I never got started in doing it. I never actually did the work of the HVAC
Okay.
because I was also into doing drugs at the time, crack cocaine.
Oh.
And so then being here in Fresno, I um, I was battling with the crack cocaine for many, many years. And then I decided that I, I actually ended up, well, I have to back up and say this.
That's good.
After that, so what happened was I was doing the crack, I went to school, I couldn't stop,
Wait.
and one time I ended up in the in this halfway house, okay?
Okay.
Well, not the halfway house, but in the psych ward
Oh, in Fresno.
in Fresno. Met a
Okay.
guy named John. I can't remember John's last name. John was telling me how to start the room and boarding houses.
Okay.
And so I started in the psych ward. And so when I got out of the psych ward, um, I actually started a business. I wanted to see if I could actually run a business
Okay.
because I knew I couldn't work for anyone ever. And I didn't want to work for anyone ever because
That's
after
good.
being fired, I decided, you know what?
Mm.
I'll never let man do me like that again. You know, it set me up so high. I was doing very, very well.
Yes.
You know, I bought my third house before I was like 23,
Really?
24. Yeah, and
Wow.
then I lost all that. And so got the business started here in Fresno. It was a room boarding house, and I didn't have it in my name, of course. I had it in someone else's name.
Okay.
I had my brother's name, actually. And when I decided I wanted to go from a rooming board, to have a room boarding house, you have to have six, I could only have 6 people.
Okay.
If I wanted any more than that, I had to have what they call a hotel motel license.
Oh.
So I asked my brother, says, hey, you know what? My brother and my mom, they was all involved in this. I said, you know what? I want to turn this into I need the hotel motel license in order for me to make more money.
Okay.
And my brother, whose name was just on this house, decided that he didn't want to have that many people in the house.
Oh.
So I kind of blew up, threw a fit, and ended back in the psych ward again.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a mess. I ended up breaking all the windows out.
Oh, wow.
threw the meter on top of the house from the electrical meter. Yeah, it was a pretty bad scene.
Yeah.
And so after that, I went to Washington to stay with one of my uncles.
Okay.
And I stayed there for a few months, and then I came back to Fresno. I was flying back and forth to Fresno because they would have me come here to fill the house back up when it would get empty.
Oh.
And then while I was up in Washington doing that and flying back and forth, me and my uncle was talking about this invention process I was wanting to create. It's called a perpetual motion machine, which no man has ever built before.
Oh.
So we were going to try to start building that.
What is that exactly?
Perpetual motion?
Yeah.
Well, perpetual motion is an object. Once an object in motion object in motion stays in motion, it's called perpetual motion. Once it starts, it never stops.
Oh.
So I wanted to create this perpetual motion machine based upon gravitational forces. And gravitational, I call it electromagnetic energy. It's using gravitational force to create energy.
Oh.
So, but he and I never got started doing that.
Okay.
And so then while I was up there, one of my uncle, my mother, this is my mother's brother, and my other brother who's also up there in Washington, his wife passed away.
Oh.
And his wife lived in Moses Lake because of her health condition. She couldn't stand all the moisture that was from the east coast of Washington. And so I talked to my uncle, and I wanted to help him kind of keep his stuff going. And at the same time, I wanted to get away from my one uncle that we never really started the invention because I felt like I was just, for lack of a better word, just being played. You know, I went there, I was out there, yeah, I was working on 10 acres, and I was basically just kind of helping keep their house up, and that's not what I was there for.
Right.
So when I talked to my other uncle whose wife passed away, he said that I could rent his house in Moses Lake. So I went over to Moses Lake, and I stayed there, and he came over and introduced me to this guy who worked on appliances, had an appliance store, actually.
Oh.
And so I started working for this guy. The problem was the guy didn't want to pay very well. When payday come, the guy wouldn't pay.
I see.
So I decided that I wouldn't work for him anymore, and that I would just do appliances out of my uncle's house, which I did.
I see.
And then but you know, when money starts rolling in, people's attitudes starts changing. Money and attitudes, money changes the way people think. And so it's just a natural born thing, you know. I think money changes people. Money changes and make us change the way we think.
True.
So anyway, so I'm making all this money. My uncle, who was living on the East Coast, rented me a house in Moses Lake, decided he wanted to come over here and see what's going on here.
Right.
And he actually was staying with us.
Oh.
And then he decided that he wanted to have his great-grandson come live there,
Really?
which is a little tiny 3-year-old kid.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have time to take care of another child like that. I didn't have the time to do it. I was trying to take care of him, his business, and my business, so I had to make a decision. And he wanted to make the decision that, you know what, if I couldn't have that, then his guy was almost 90 years old, he didn't have that much time left, and he wanted to spend more time with his great-grandson. That was more important to him than my business.
Okay.
So he had asked me to leave. And it just so happenstance that I ended up moving to Soap Lake, Washington, and started my own business there. And when I did that, I was very successful. And I got a lot of my training from GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, because it was a small community. They had no servicemen in the area.
Wow. So these are major company labels here.
Say it again?
Yeah. Major company labels, GE and Whirlpool.
Right. Because I was just doing my business called Appliance World, and Appliance World was just it's just a business. We came up with the name, and it was doing good. I was very comfortable.
Okay.
And when GE called me one day and asked me to run a service call for them, I decided, okay, I'd do it. But I told them I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
And they walked me through all the whole steps of the procedure for the repair. And I did such a good job, they kept using me. And then within a period of about a year and a half, I had Whirlpool, Maytag, Frigidaire, and a couple of other companies calling me to do the same thing for them.
Wow.
So that's where I got all of my training for appliance repair.
Oh, wow. So how did you end up back in Fresno?
Well, I was during the course of me doing my work up in Salt Lake. I wasn't. I hadn't stopped doing crack cocaine. I was still using crack cocaine. And my wife left me. And when she left me, it kind of got a little bit worse. And when it got worse, I think that my mom kind of had sensed it. One of my sons did come up to Washington. He wanted to come up there to kind of help me out because he heard I was doing bad. But my mom sensed it, and I think she thought that it was time for me to come back to Fresno. I was up in Washington by myself, doing my own business, but I didn't have much family there, and I wasn't not much support.
Wow.
So she decided that. I think that she decided. It's hard to tell exactly how it all happened, but I do know this: is that about a month or two before, they decided to come and pick me up from Washington and bring me back to Fresno. I was ready to come, but my brother had lost the group home that I started here in Fresno.
Wow.
Yeah. So with that, after he left that, I kind of put the family, I think, at a financial burden. So it was time. It was like, I wasn't doing very well there. They wasn't doing very well here. It was probably best for me to change my environment, come back here, and get started doing business here.
Okay. So you were starting your business here, and
I came back to Fresno, started doing it at my mom's house, and I opened up a business over on Cedar and Shields called Appliance World.
Okay.
I did that for about 8 years.
Wow, that's quite a while, almost a decade.
Almost a decade, that's right.
Wow.
Been doing the Appliance World, been in business for over 25 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
So I understand you're very passionate about the crack cocaine epidemic and how did you get into this, and what do you know about the crack cocaine epidemic personally?
Well, on a personal basis, because I've experienced crack cocaine, using it, there's many different aspects to it. And I'll start by saying this, is that, well, there's 2 levels, there's more than 2 levels, but I'll start by saying this. When a person gets into doing crack cocaine, their whole spirit changes. And I don't know how well they're going to edit this interview, but I'll say this, okay? Because just talk real to you about the crack cocaine.
Yes.
See, it is written in the Bible, Revelations 2:17, to him who overcometh will I give him a white stone, and in that stone a new name written, which no man knoweth he who receiveth it. And he says he'll also give him some of the hidden manna. I'll explain that to you.
Okay.
Hidden manna was spiritual. Hidden manna is spiritual food.
Okay.
And manna is food. And so when the person takes the draw of this cocaine, their whole spirit changes. And that's that new name that's written. And no man can keep that white stone. You can't keep that white stone. Anybody who gets it. So what we do is either sell it or smoke it up. Going to be one of the 2. And but on the other level, so now that you got this spiritual act of things going around you, but once you get into the spirit, and once you take a hit of crack cocaine, your spirit becomes an entity. In other words, when I'm out there, look, around me, around you, there's demons all the time. And once you take a hit, you and I, no matter how righteous we are, cannot be of any forces that are working together. So therefore, now I'm by myself as an entity, and all the demons around me can take control of me because I can't fight them by myself. It said that one good man could put 1,000 demons to flight, and two two good men could put 10,000 demons to flight. I don't know if you understand the mathematics of that. Well, if you got 1,200 or 1,800 demons around you, if each person have 1,800 demons around you, that means you got 36 around you, I got 36 around me. Right. You and I together can put 10,000 of them to fight, so we can save other people as well, not just ourselves. We can't save ourselves by ourselves, but we can save ourselves when we're together. Two united can put more. Well, once you take a hit, you're by yourself. In other words, you're out there by yourself now, and these demons, you can fight them all you want to, but you can't beat them because you're by yourself. There's 18 around you, and there's one of you. But on the other hand, I think the crack cocaine epidemic, I'm going to tell you what I do know. This is what I do know. Okay. But I do know this. Once we conquered Noriega, and when we conquered Noriega, we was bringing the crack cocaine. In order for us to get him and get evidence on him, we was bringing plane loads of crack cocaine into the United States. I mean, not like twin-engine planes, cargo planes. Okay, bundles of cargo planes. So there was a military operation going on, bringing crack cocaine into the United States. This is before it hit the market now. Then we busted Noriega. After we busted Noriega, we flooded this cocaine in the form of crack to the I guess you could say the lower economic areas of the United States, which so happens to be the black man, I guess. But anyway, so anyway, our neighborhood, the black neighborhood, got flooded with this crack cocaine stuff, and it was so addicting that people would spend they was robbed from their mothers. It was awful. Right. I mean, there's been times that, you would just, if you didn't have the money to get it, you would just basically do whatever it is to get it, get more. So, so anyway, so they gave the kids this crack cocaine to sell, and then when the kids couldn't, well, because the parents were then, you know what, the parents want more of it, and the kids didn't want to give it to them because they didn't have no more money, and so the parents would take it from their own kids. So what they did then, I'm not going to say who that they is, because whoever they is, they know who they are, okay? But I do believe that it does have something to do with our government. And so, because, hey, I know I couldn't put that much. I mean, I was making a lot of money, and I would have nothing to do with getting any of the money that from the crack cocaine could have brought into the United States. But I'm going to say this. After the people started smoking crack and they couldn't stop, and they had the opportunity to take it from their kids, then they brought guns in, okay? From what I understand, there was train loads and trailer loads of guns given into certain areas of the country for the kids to have to protect themselves from being robbed of the money that they were making from the crack cocaine. That happened. That was up in the 80s and 90s. Then, after that, in the 80s and 90s, and in the 90s and the early 2000s, that's when there started a lot of gang formations where these people were fighting for the crack cocaine territories. In other words, you would have different streets. You'd have a street that sell cocaine, because people would just drive down the road and you could purchase cocaine right on the street. People run to the cars and giving you a rock and you driving off. You know what I mean? And then you started having these streets calling themselves gang members. There's nothing but kids who, kids who were going to school together or knew each other in their neighborhood. They want to sell crack in their neighborhood, and every different neighborhood had their own neighborhoods. Now that the guns have been introduced, there was starting to be gun violence, a lot of gun violence. So we have a mixture of crack cocaine use mixed with violence, and basically little sects of gang member violence. They want to call themselves gangs, and we as parents, we couldn't do nothing about it because we were so keyed up into getting, like I said, you take a hit, you become an entity. So you
Oh.
can't, no matter how, look, I believe in God. I take a hit. I still believe in God. But you can come over there and just grab my hand and just twirl me around if you wanted to, and I couldn't do nothing about it because I'm stuck. You know, I could have $500 in my hand like this, ready to hand it to you. You're the crack cocaine dealer. You can snatch it out of my hand, and I can't do nothing
So
because
you're saying the parents were too.
that's where the spiritual side of things kind of go hand. This is where we're at now. Let me keep on going so you can understand now where we're at. What happened and where we're at now.
Okay.
Okay. So basically now so look, we smoking this crack.
Yes.
When we smoking crack, we can see we can't see the spirits, but we can hear the spirit. We can become more alert to the spirit. I'm talking about speaking. I'm talking about speaking with our voice. Okay? There's a certain way that God talks. God talks in a way, look, I'm going to give you a prime example. This morning I wake up, and me and my mom get into a little, not an altercation, but we have some words.
Okay.
And because of we having those words, my mind kind of like, oh man, now I'm supposed to be doing this interview here at 12 or 1 o'clock, and I got so many other things to do, and now we having this conversation,
Right.
and we never, and I just want to get my mind where I want to be at a certain level of peace within myself. You know, I want to have my mind where I want to have it to be prepared for an interview.
Okay.
You know, like I can't come in here, imagine if I came here
Unprepared.
unprepared. Like,
Yeah.
say for instance, I mean, like coming here, like, even though I don't drink much, but if I had like 5 or 6, 7, 8 beers and I come here, we're going to do an interview. Yeah, right.
Right.
They're not going to happen, right? So I want to be prepared. Well, so, but then I'm rushing, trying to get here, and then I'm talking to God, trying to figure out how to make things smooth. This thing, I'll get my soul settled, and then He allows it to happen, so I could just calm down. You know, I was able to read my horoscope, see what it was talking about. You know, see where I need to be. So now I can actually say what I kind of need to say.
Right.
Even though I might be going on a tangent right now.
It's okay.
This is probably going to be edited out. Cut, no. But anyway, so after the crack cocaine thing starts up, okay, so you have the spiritual level in which people have to kind of understand that whether they agree to it or not, there's a big spiritual side. And the same people who do crack believe in God. Okay, so you have to keep this in mind, that these same people who are doing this drug, that people who don't use it, or even people who do use it, know that it's bad for you, or don't understand it. We know that it's still a spiritual drug. So, but it's not something that we should be. I'm not saying people should use it, but I'm just saying it is what it is.
Right.
So then the guns came out. People were killing each other, and we were having people. You know, I've seen and heard so many people get killed, all behind either the people who were selling drugs and their gang activity, or the people who were using drugs from having heart attacks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can use too much of it, you can die.
Okay.
And so then I think my whole, the whole thing that I like to address, well, the thing that makes me mad the most is that I know that it was brought here. I know that we used it. I know that it caused a lot of people to die.
Yes.
And there's most people are saying, there are a lot of people in the world saying, oh, you just just why don't you just stop using it like it's supposed to be? You stop using it, and then things are supposed to get better.
Right.
No, things are not getting better, because now this is the situation now. Because of me personally. Now this is my personal attitude, but this is real.
Okay.
Okay. Well, and I don't want to get into what religion is right and which religion is wrong and all that.
Right.
But we got a whole facet of different religions that are using, I don't know, they call it Jesus and God and all whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I do know this right now. This is the problem. This is the big problem for me right now, because, see, money doesn't matter to me right now. I was telling my mother, that's one thing we were going to do this morning. We were talking about the money. You know what? This is not about money. You know, come on now. You're 80 years old. You still talking about money?
Wow.
Because it's not about money. To me, it's not about money. But you want $1 million? Is that going to change anything? Because the reality of it is this is what matters to me.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter about this Jesus Christ being black, white, whoever he is. Okay. One thing I do know is that I've never met anybody who called themselves a Christian that can introduce me to this guy called Jesus.
Really?
For the real talks. Hey, look, check this out. I could come tell you about God. I could give you I could tell you about God, how he talked to you this morning, and I could tell you about what he's going to tell me to tell you right now. And what's going to happen tomorrow as far as he goes. And how he actually relates. I'm going to say this. I could tell you how God talks, and you're going to know when it's God. Put it that way. I know he's a righteous God. I know how he talks. And I can tell you about him. I can't tell you about Jesus, because I hear people talk about him, but some people say Jesus and God are the same one, and I don't believe that. You know, Jesus is God's son. I believe that. You know, I also believe that I'm one of God's children, so that would make me and Jesus brothers and sisters.
Okay.
I mean, these are things I know to be true.
Okay.
So who is this Jesus guy? I really can't say who he is, but I do think that he's my brother. I do think that he's one. I think because of him that I live. I know that to be fact.
Okay.
So I do have a concept of who Jesus is. I haven't introduced it to many people, but I do have a concept that I know that without him I cannot live, because I know who he is.
Okay.
Now, whether I'm right is not what they're saying in the church right now, as far as Christianity goes.
Right.
But there's this other concept that's about to unleash, that people have to start to understand, is that one thing I do know that God is life. Anything that has a cellular form is God.
Okay.
And in the cellular form, I mean, if it has a cell and it reproduces, it's life. And that's God. God is life and life itself. Anything that gives up of itself so that other may live is what I call Christ. That's the sacrifice of one giving up of itself so that another can live. Now we have different gods. And they say, oh, well, you shouldn't be believing, there's only one God. No, because it's written. God says, you shall, he says, put no other God before me.
Right.
Well, if he says, put no other God before me, that's saying that there are other gods.
Right, in existence.
In existence. So this is where we're at right now. So you got a group of people who's really upset because they were using this crack cocaine situation.
Right.
And in reality, I could put it that way, but the majority of the people, I think, I don't know for sure, but I say the majority of the people who had a hard devastation, the majority as far as the number of people, maybe not the financial part of it, but the number of people who had a downshift behind crack cocaine were African Americans. And I know for me, the African American society in the United States took a big fall behind crack cocaine. And whether it be behind just the and if you decide that I'm your enemy and not let me help you, then I can't let you just keep kicking me to the side.
Right.
I'm not going to try to fight you with a gun.
Right.
So I'm going to fight you with my God. And now that I know that you believe in this Jesus Christ guy, or you just trying to throw him off on me,
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a whole lot more to it than him.
Mm.
So I'm gonna pray to different gods, Yogan and Shagan, different gods that's gonna do different things in your nature.
Mm.
That's gonna throw you off balance.
Mm.
So that's pretty much why you have like the Eastern storm that just happened.
I see.
And so I don't know what we're gonna do in the future and how it's gonna take place. But I know like CNN is gonna presenting pretty soon. I think next week or on the 22nd of March,
Okay.
February,
Oh, okay.
about Jesus, facts, fiction, and
Really?
yeah.
Oh.
So that's a good episode for somebody to watch. You should watch that
Okay.
because kind of I hope they're gonna cover whether not to say Jesus ain't real because Jesus is real 100%,
Okay.
but who he is and what he is and is is distorted.
Right.
So we got a lot of people. It's like we're the sleeping church.
Yes.
So I'm talking about not just me and you as or black people, but the God's church, because we stay in church. God's church is a sleeping church. We're not even beginning. We need to. We're gonna have. We're beginning to wake up.
Mm.
Did I go off on a tangent?
No. Well, I mean,
Sort of.
sorta. Yeah, but it's interesting.
Okay, so that's where we're at, and so we have to decide what we're gonna do and how we're gonna fight, because it's not gonna be. It can be harm. It can be done in harmony because there are so many things that there is so much more for us to do as a society to grow.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's a lots of things that we could have, but we can't have it if we can't let everybody and share and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, there's no reason for you to have to get up and put your clothes in the wash machine and then have to do all the iron and all that other stuff when you could do other things that use other methods of cleaning them and putting them on without doing what you're doing. But why should I? Why should one? I'm gonna put it this way. There are certain people, and there are lots of different people, but God gives people ideas all the time, okay, including black men. And if you don't let his ideas surface,
Mhm.
then you get stuck, you know. And if you only let his ideas surface, and then when they surface, you decide you want to take control of them and leave him out, then we're still stagnated. You
Okay.
know what I mean? In other words, I can't produce and come up with my ideas, and then you just take all the money and run with it and just leave me out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there, I'd make me want to just keep my ideas in my own mind, and
Mm.
the heck with the world, because none of this is very, very important to right now, because in God's world there is no time.
Mm.
It's until we decide. It's until we decide to up our level of growth that He'll let us move on to the next step.
Wow. Wow. So, okay, so are you still battling with the addiction, or is it with?
It's a constant battle.
It,
Yes.
so it stays with you, or does it stay with one person once they?
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does. I mean, you can get off of it and never use it again.
Right. Kind of like an alcoholic, where they would still have that issue with alcohol, even though they're still sober.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you know how if you're a true alcoholic,
Mhm.
a guy who's really, really an alcoholic, you know how they talk when they get so much alcohol into the system, and they could be clean for probably the rest of their life.
Right.
20, 30, 40, 50 years, they still sound like an alcoholic.
Mm.
They still have this. They still have this way of thinking. It's not such a way of thinking, but they still have this. They still have alcoholic spirit in them that's never going to change. I mean, he don't sound like he's drunk,
Right.
but the things he talk about is the same kind of things he talked about when he was drunk.
Oh.
I mean, he'll tell you about the bad sides, but there's bad sides and good sides to every part of life.
Right.
Um, Is there no way possible that a person can take a take a hit of crack cocaine for any number of years, because especially becoming an addict, and not realize the spiritual side of it, and then once they're not using it anymore, still see the spiritual side of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there could be times that I mean, you could be, you know when it's God, and you know when it's you just know.
Right.
You know, you wake up, you make a phone. Look, I'm making a phone call to you, and the phone just cuts out. That's not me. That's God. But you got to understand sometimes is that if you're driving down the road and you're making that phone call, it might be him too. But you also have to know sometimes if you're doing right or wrong while you're making that phone call, whether it's the devil that's making you do it.
Oh.
So you have to kind of put things in perspective, and just about everything you do. But you also have to listen and know when it's a blessing or when it's something you're not supposed to be doing, and it's a warning.
Wow.
That make sense?
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. Is that it, Corey, or did you want more? I'm sorry. Okay. Do you want me to close it now? All right. Well, thank you, Vincent, for sharing your story with us. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
You're welcome.
All right. And that's it for Mastermind Time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Well, maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah. It's nice meeting you.
You too.
Hi, I'm Corey Muhammad with Mastermind Time, and I have with me a yoga practitioner, the lovely Stefani Alin. How you doing, Stefani?
Very well, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So you're a yoga practitioner. How did you get into that?
I actually was in a car accident about 5 years ago, and it was recommended to me as part of my healing process.
Okay.
And my understanding of the art just grew from there as I dove in deeper.
Okay. And how long have you been practicing it?
It's been about 5 years on my own.
Awesome, awesome. And so you just went ahead and opened up your own studio, or how did you get into getting clients for it?
It was a longer process. I found out how much it was doing for me and educated myself about the origins and the benefits of it.
Okay.
I decided to take the teacher training program about a year ago, and I just started with friends and family, and I have a few clients now, but still trying to grow my business.
Cool, cool. Now, when you teach them, what does it do for you? What can you explain to the public exactly what yoga does for you?
It's such a wide range of benefits. It really depends on the person, but the easy way to put it is that it provides whatever you need. So if you need support, or you need space, or you need to work on your agility, or you need to maybe be grounded or centered or release emotionally, yoga will meet you where you are.
Okay, okay. And hopefully we'll be able to see you do yoga. Actually, what is it called when you do the exercise? Is it called exercise?
Asana.
Asana.
It's an asana practice, yes.
Okay, so when you do an asana practice, each move supposedly works with a certain energy or a certain concentration.
There's one energy, which is the prana, the life force, that you utilize, which is done mainly through the breath. And there's many pranayama or breathing techniques that you can use during your practice.
All right.
So during an asana practice, your movement would be coordinated with your breath.
Okay.
But again, depending on the result and the person, you can have a faster pace, you can have a slower pace, you can do a lot of different postures, you could just do 3 or 4 postures in an hour.
Now, what is the breathing? How's that beneficial for someone?
Breathing is really underrated as far as a health practice. A lot of people walk around and are chest breathers and don't really realize the benefits of a full diaphragmatic breath. I could go on for hours just about it, but I mean, the quickest example is heart conditions and heart attack. You'll find that in a cardiac unit, like in an ICU in any hospital, 90% of the patients are chest breathers. Another example is if you look at kids and their endless well of energy that we're all jealous of. They run around all day like they never run out of energy. They're born with a natural full belly breath.
Belly breath. That was under my mind when you were talking about the belly.
The diaphragm is connected to the heart. So when you take a deep diaphragmatic breath, you're actually exercising massaging and strengthening the heart.
Awesome, awesome. So breathing is a very, very important aspect.
Very important,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Now I also understand that you're into healing, like Reiki. Is that's what
Right,
it's called?
Reiki, yes.
Now, what is that like in layman's terms, briefly?
I got into it from yoga, from understanding the prana and the use of life force and energy to heal your own body.
Okay.
So that naturally led me to be curious in the healing energy arts, which there's many.
Uh-huh.
I started with the pulling and the running of energy that we do in yoga and in therapeutic yoga. And I got into Reiki because it's an older form of energy work, and it's so steeped in tradition that I find the consciousness of the energy is just so much more powerful.
Awesome, awesome. Now, your studio is called what?
Lavender Lane.
And why did you name it that?
I've always been obsessed with the color purple, and I love lavender.
Awesome.
I love aromatherapy and herbs, and it just came to me. I don't know. It sounded catchy.
Okay. So, if you could tell the public why would they want to get into yoga or Reiki, what would you tell them in some brief words?
Definitely the benefits and possibilities are endless as far as ascending spiritually and creating a healthy lifestyle, a healthy body, a healthy mind, and really having unity through all the layers of your consciousness.
Cool, cool. Well, our next segment, we're going to hope to have you actually show people the movements, the asanas, or did I say it right?
Asanas.
Asanas.
I would love to.
And pranas. And thank you for coming, Stefani. It was a pleasure meeting you, and we'll be seeing you soon.
For sure.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time, baby. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. Healthy lifestyles from an urban perspective. Healthy lifestyles from an urban perspective. Healthy lifestyles from an urban perspective. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time, baby. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time, baby. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time, baby. It's mastermind time. It's mastermind time.
All right, welcome back to Mastermind Time. I'm your host, Corey Muhammad, No Relation, here with community activist Cammie Johnson, who is the CEO of an organization called Saving Our Sisters. Welcome to the show, Cammie.
Thank you for having me. How are you this afternoon?
You're very welcome. I'm awesome. So tell me a little bit about a lot about Saving Our Sisters.
A lot about Saving Our Sisters. Well, Saving Our Sisters is a community-based organization, and our primary focus is heart disease prevention amongst African American women. As many Americans are very well aware, there's over 1 million deaths annually which are related to heart disease. And African American women represent the largest minority group to perish annually from heart disease. So our primary focus is to get the word out, prevention, follow-up, and also we're trying to take a holistic approach to getting our health back, because in the African American community we know that our diets are outdated. So what we're trying to do is trying to come full circle with our health, our wealth, and our spirituality. And if we're not healthy, you know, there's really nothing that we can do. So we're beginning this crusade, you know, to save our sisters because we're sick.
That's right. Now explain the outdated part. What's outdated about Black Americans?
Well, the traditional diet, of course, you know, the slave diet with the poor pieces of pork and just having started our dietary beginnings here, it wasn't that great to begin with, you know, and as time has progressed, of course, we've taken our traditional diet and we've carried that with us over for generations. But now our society, the society that we live in, with water pollution and the genetically modified foods, we have to be aware of all of these things, in addition to all of the fats and the grease and the high cholesterol foods that we're ingesting. We have to come and adjust to how society is now. It's no longer 1865. We're in 2015, where we have a shortage of water, the grains and the fruits and vegetables. There's just a lot of things that we need to now talk about and introduce into our diets to not only bring our cholesterol levels down and to help us to live longer. You know, so there's a lot of things that we need to incorporate and we need to talk about. And just as we learn to read and write, we also have to learn about nutrition, which is something that's really not taught in the African American community. And so that's why we're here and we exist, so that we can give valuable information across all boards and all spectrums, where you can come and ask these questions and we're going to give it to you in a way that you can understand and digest it and take it back to your family, and also show you how it's applicable, you know, to your lifestyle, because we're all together. Our traditionally, your family and my family, although you and I have no relation, I bet you we all do the same things.
Exactly.
You know, because we come from the same lineage hundreds of years ago, so we all pretty much do the same things. So if I'm sitting and I'm having a roundtable discussion with the women, I can relate to them on the level where they're not only listening, but they're also getting those aha moments in it. And that's what's important, is just to understand, you know, I'm not here to call you out on anything. I'm just here to make you aware. And so once the information has been given to you, then it's on you. It becomes your responsibility to take the information and do with it what you will.
So you want to inspire an epiphany.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now explain to the urban community, Black people, what holistic foods are, like.
Well, so
in layman terms.
Okay. Well, in layman terms, so holistic foods are all of the foods that are from the ground. So your fruits and your vegetables, anything that is cultivated and it comes from the earth. So potato chips, all of these are all manufactured foods, anything that comes in a box. So holistic foods are going to be all your fresh fruits and vegetables, all of your produce and things of that nature. Herbs, there's there's an array of herbs that heal us. And one of the things I like to do is I like to take it back to the beginning. When we're put here, you know, God puts us here, it's just us. So everything that's on this planet is made to sustain us. And we have to understand that, and we have to get in touch with nature and understand what each of these herbs, what they represent, and how they can actually heal our bodies. We're not, you know, there's a lot of medication, you know, that a lot of people are on. We're now in a society where just Americans in general, we're sick.
Yeah.
We're on every prescription medication under the sun. And we need to, there's a huge pharmaceutical issue that's going on. But we need to just, you know, take it back to the basics. You know, what is it that I can put, you know, the herbal teas and different spices, you know, how they can go in and they can heal your body. And you can actually add years, you know. So one of the things that I like to call myself as a longevity specialist is, how can I extend my life? The African American community, and especially in certain zip codes, for instance, where we're doing our health classes in 93706, the life expectancy for 93706 is about 69 years. We're out in the Woodward Park area, it's about 89 years. So there's a 20-year lifespan difference there. So it's like, what is it that's going on in Woodward Park that's not going on in West Fresno?
And then what happened, like the stress, like, okay, there's scientific proof that stress can be genetically inherited. And do you think that a lot of the stress that our people are having is due to post-traumatic slave disorder?
Yes, I do. And I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, because that's a real disorder. And it's something that you actually have to look at, because there was a study that was done. And the more traumatic experience that you've had in your life, the worse your health is supposed to be. So, you know, here we are in the situation because it's 2015 now, and you know, our segregation just ended back, you know, in the 60s, where Dr. Martin Luther King. So there's a short time span where we've had an opportunity to actually interact with other nationalities, having certain freedoms given to us, where other people were born into those rights. We're learning how to walk in our rights and our I'm at a loss for words, but the ability and the confidence, you know, and it's something that it's learned for many of us to be confident within ourselves, with our speech and being around other people within, being comfortable with us. So there's a lot of things that we're still learning. Even I, you know, in 2015 am learning how to adapt in other societies, because I was born a free person, but from generation to generation behind me, those isms that they have carried over.
Exactly.
And we're still teaching those. So there's a lot of things that we have to let go, and we just need to really revamp ourselves.
Yeah, because most of us still carry our former slave masters' names.
Yes.
Names like Taylor.
Yeah. Even with my last name Johnson, of course, that's a traditional slave name right from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really it's important, you know, for that we have these different outlets, and of course, so happy to be here on the show, just to have the opportunity to get this word out to more people. And you know, I really, when I have the classes, I'm just a little disappointed at the outcome or just the attendance. You know, it's amazing what as people what will show up for, and the things that I think that are really important to just to our existence and our being is that kind of gets swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that I want to tell my sisters is that no one's coming for us. No one's coming for us. We are in a situation where our health is deteriorating, and if you do the math on it, we have 250,000 African American women dying annually. African American people represent 14% of the population. African American women are 9%. So if we're doing 250,000 annually, it's not going to take long, you know, before we become the bottom of the food chain, where at one time our population represented 80%. You know, here we are now, we're down to 14. So it's really time to take a look at that and say, okay, well, hey, in any other country, if you had 45,000 people that had died in 1 month from a disease, it would be an epidemic.
Yeah.
And they go in there and they check it out and they see what happened. The same thing is happening over here. Where's our state of emergency?
Well, I like to think like after segregation and lynching, they went to a whole new thing, genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that part of our health deterioration and the gang violence and the drug culture is part of a billion-dollar conspiracy for genocide. So those are my views.
Yeah,
personally.
I mean, you're absolutely correct on that. There's a lot of things here that the rapid deterioration of us as a group, and especially with the mass incarceration of our African American men, they've stepped away from their role in our communities, and just the role of today's Black woman. We wear so many hats. You know, we're the head of the household, we're the sole provider. We have to provide for our children. And not only that, if there's a sick relative, a mother or father, we also take on that responsibility. And then when we're at work, we're trying to hold it down at work and trying to be the best employee. Then we're at church, you know, trying to be the sister of the month, trying to be everybody's best friend and an ear to listen. And there's just so many things that we're doing, and we're everything to everybody else and we're nothing to ourselves. So at the end of the day, we're tired and we're exhausted. We don't have time to sit and think about, oh, okay, well, I need to give my family the most nutritious meal that they can have so that they can get up and be productive the next day. What are we thinking? I am exhausted. Let me feed these children and lay myself down so that I can get up and have another 12-hour nonstop day.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, where is Saving Our Sisters located? Where would the public be able to come?
The public can, they can find us online And our website is www.savingourSisters.org. There's plenty of information listed on the website, and there's also an 800 number if you need to call and speak with someone. But we also do free health classes to the public every second and fourth Thursday of the month, which is at the Elm Community Center, and that's located at 1802 East California Street, and that's in West. MastermindTime is because our nutrition is everything. So what we put into our bodies is what we're going to get out. So for instance, I like to use the analogy like we're two cars. So you're going to put premium gas in your car, and I'm going to put Dr. Pepper. We start our days off. You're on your premium gas, I'm on my Dr. Pepper. I'm liquid, so I'm going to go because you put some form of liquid in there. But eventually what happens, the sugar is going to begin to erode my insides. You're going to be able to make it because you've given your body everything that you need to make it throughout the day. And I have completely ruined my engine by putting a sugary drink inside of my body. And that's what's happening now, is that we are so inundated with sugars and all these artificials, genetically modified, all of these things. Everything is stacked against us. So if we could put more water into our body, of course, water is oxygen for the body, and the more water we ingest, then the better our bodies perform. And if you're putting fruits and vegetables in your body, which is natural, then you're getting that natural sugar, and you'll get that boost of natural energy also. So it's imperative that you feed your family the best. Or like I say, if this holistic diet is not for you, well, I can't eat healthy and I can't afford it, at least set yourself up for success. We set ourselves up for success by at 50% of the time. At least try to cook a home-cooked meal for your family at least 3 times a week. And then as you begin to do that and you start to eat at home, as you go out to eat, things will start to taste different to you, and you actually will be turned away from eating out, because then your taste buds start to change. And that's what we want, is we want to take that, because there's a lot of salt in the foods, a lot of sodium that we're eating in the foods today. And if you were to take yourself off of that and start drinking water and start eating more fruits and vegetables, your taste buds will begin to change. They'll actually start to come back. And you'll realize, oh my God, I've been eating all of this salty, greasy food all of this time, and I had absolutely, no idea. Food is a double-edged sword. It'll keep you alive and it'll kill you. And looking now, Americans were the fattest country in the nation. 8 out of 10. And our workforce is sick. Our medical costs are astronomical. They're through the roof. And we can't wait for a doctor to diagnose us, to tell us that we're sick, because by that time it's too late.
Exactly.
We're responsible for our own health. I don't even really want to go to the doctor. If I go to the doctor, then I know that there's an issue. So doing an annual checkup is something that we need to do. But for the most part, you need to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
When we start going to the doctors, they're going to give us some sort of prescription medication. They're going to keep us alive long enough just to go to the next hospital visit.
Yeah.
So it's on us. If you want to live a long, prosperous life, you have to learn the effects of food on your body, and you have to take care of yourself in a way that no one else can but you. And we do that by taking it back to nature and our Creator, and we do that by getting in touch with the earth and becoming natural. That's the elixir, is your diet is the fountain of youth, And you have to add some exercise in there as well, and just try to get fit. A healthy body lasts a long time, a very, very long time.
Now, what inspired you? When did you have your epiphany? Is this something you were brought up in, or is this something you stumbled upon, or you were called for?
It was a stumble. I kind of stumbled upon it. My family, the women in my family perished early, and I don't know if it was maybe the 15th or 16th funeral, and I started to get scared, because I'm looking at first, the women were living till they're 65, and then they started living till 60, and then 55, and then they started perishing in their 40s. And so here I am. well, currently right now I'm 41. I'll be 42 this year. But when I was, in my late 30s, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to me, because now I'm approaching that 40-year benchmark. And the sicknesses in my family started to get aggressive with the diabetes and the heart disease. And, it just started to it took out actually 2 generations. I have a very young family right now because all of the women in my family have perished from heart disease-related illnesses. And I was just thinking to myself that, I have my young children, and I don't want to leave them. What can I do to stick around, and what's happening to us? And so as I started to get healthy and start to do research, I stumbled on the fact that, oh my God, our diets are absolutely horrible, and it's killing us. I thought diabetes was something everybody got. I didn't know that that was an option. Waiting on my day to get diabetes, and then I go and I do a little research, and I'm like, oh my God, diabetes is an option? I thought that that was something that was mandatory because every aunt, grandparents on both sides has diabetes. And even like my mother now, she just recently had a stroke, and my mother's a fairly young woman, she's 57. My father had diabetes, and he's gone on. He passed away at 54. So it's just, my mother's mother, she passed away at 53. And her sisters, no one on my mother's side made it to see 60. So it's just, a situation where we were all becoming paranoid, and so then I kind of stepped out in front and took the lead as far as, okay, well, what are we going to do? Let's start this crusade. At first, it was just, hey, we need to wake up, ladies, and see what's going on, because we have this curse on our family about dying young. And so this is how it kind of stumbled on. But the thing that really brought the light, shed a lot of light on the situation, is that there was not really a website particularly geared for Black women. There's a lot of heart disease information out there. There's a lot of statistics and a lot of facts. But I'm talking about me. Yeah. What about me? Where's the information for me? Where are the support groups for me? Yeah. And there was just that information. I mean, after you go into your 25th engine search page, you just become a little discouraged, because what affects Sarah doesn't affect Renee. Exactly. Because we're 2 completely different people, and the way that we've been brought up and the things that we eat and digest, and her life and my life are completely different. So I was looking for some information just by us. Where are the African American women, or where's the group? Who's supporting us? Where can this information be found? So Saving Our Sisters, it's a community organization now, but this is a movement. Exactly. This needs to be a national campaign. It needs to be out there, because we all have to put our hands in this and make this work. Yeah. It's imperative. It's imperative for our survival. Yes, ma'am. If totally nothing else, it's imperative for our survival. If we think we want to be here past this last generation here, then we need to make a change immediately. It's time to declare a state of emergency on our health. Exactly.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And hopefully we'll have you back, and hopefully we could get some field footage with you at the community center.
Yeah, I would love that.
Interacting with the sisters, and hopefully more sisters to show up.
Yes, please.
Because we need you to come out. Your health is important.
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh, by the way, you have children?
I do. I have 3 little ones. Okay. I have 5, 7, and 8. And I know that eating healthy works because I did several experiments on my kids. They were my little guinea pigs. So all 3 of my children are all lean, healthy, and active. Cool. My son and I had very severe allergies. We've taken the milk and dairy out of our diets, which has just cleared up our lymph nodes. And moving here from the valley, because I'm a Bay Area native, the valley air is really, really, really harsh. So we've had some complications because of the air, but in general, overall, there has been a lot of things that have cleared up, as far as our skin and things of that nature, and just being able to go a little further, their balance. I see a lot of little changes in them. They're not bedwetters. A lot of children are bedwetters, And if they're, the children are drinking, whole milk, they, they tend to be bedwetters. So I can see the difference between my children and other children in the family, as far as the health concerns and the asthma. And I try to give my recommendations whenever, but I love it when I give a recommendation, they sit on the information, then they go to the doctor, and the doctor tells them, and then they come back and they tell. I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not proclaiming to be that at all, but I do have life-saving information. So, and that's what I want. I want you to have that aha moment, because now you're going to come and you're going to inquire. You're going to be inquisitive, and I'm going to be able to give you information that you need when you want it. So,
Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hope we can have you back.
I would love to come back.
All right. And all the information will be on the screen.
Okay.
And the public can see it. And
all right.
Appreciate you coming out.
Central Valley, we need you guys to come out and show your support.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Do I get to see that?
Ceasefire, getting money, ceasefire, getting money, ceasefire, getting money, ceasefire, getting money,
Infamous Cake Mix. Say, brother, what's your opinion on a 90-day ceasefire get money campaign in Fresno, California?
I think it'll be a good move, man. It'll be a good move for the best. We have a lot of hot talent in Fresno, California, but the gangs and the different neighborhoods and being from here, being from there, man, it's kind of really stopping us, man. It's really actually blocking us from really putting our town on the map, because you got hot people from this hood and hot people from that hood that can't work together, come together and make quality music. It's all about quality music, make good music, you can get paid for that, but if your own city ain't behind you, and if you got different politics where you can't work with this guy because he's from Modoc, and this guy's from Sampson, or this guy's from Strata, or this guy's from the Ville, it really blocks your emotions, man. If it was a 90-day season, I would even take it far as, let's make it more than 90 days, man. Let's try to change our way of thinking, man, and really get together and make some money, man. Come artists in LA, artists in Oakland, artists in New York, these guys are coming together in their cities, and they're blowing up their cities, and they're all eating. We're not all eating because we're not coming together.
All right. Thank you, brother.
ceasefire, getting money, ceasefire, getting money, ceasefire, getting money, ceasefire, getting money.
What's your opinion on the 90-day ceasefire get money campaign?
My opinion on the 90-day ceasefire get money campaign is, for 90 days, coming together as an organization and get money, instead of saying one person up and one person down, and the person down killing the person that's up just to come up. Person up help everybody else that's down come up. So if everybody up together, ain't no shooting at each other because we all eating together. That's what a 90-day ceasefire should be.
What do you think is going to be the hardest part to get people to do it? What do you think is going to be people's arguments on why they shouldn't do it?
The hardest part probably be, because they don't mess with this certain person, or they can't mess with this certain person, or really, they be like, they don't want to see this certain person doing good. They want to see that person doing bad. They just want all of it for themselves. They don't want to share, help nobody else. They just want to be by themselves and be greedy.
For sure.
And make no mistake about it, they are terrorists. They are as much a terrorist as those people in Iraq that are blowing up innocent people. And we're
effective today, Operation Westside is being launched. Operation Westside is a multi-pronged approach with a very simple goal of the elimination of gangs in Southwest Fresno. That is a simple goal.